Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Cuff E Squared Productions. This is T, this is me, I'm Carol. We are here to talk about decision making part two. A couple weeks ago, we recorded decision making part one, and this was prior to the two of us attending one of the most incredible workshops that either of us have ever attended. And I'm gonna zip it now and pass the floor over to Tanya. She is just busting at the seams with excitement about this, I guess, awareness, self-awareness. Tanya, take it away.
So thank you so much. And when you say the most profound and amazing conference that we've been to, and we've been to a lot of conferences, so
Ah,
that's something to say, right? So here's the thing. My best friend, Carol, messaged me about a month ago and said, "Hey, I'm going to this thing called Infinite Possibilities, and I'm going to be trained with this, and I'm going to be certified." And immediately I went, "Oh, well, I want that too, but I can't afford it." It's just really simple. I don't have enough money coming in right now. I can't afford it. And then that niggling feeling of, I think you should take a look at this. And so convincing myself, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to apply for the scholarship because I know I'm not going to get it. And so then I'll have this real reason why I can't go because I didn't get the scholarship and therefore I can't go. So I decided to write for the scholarship. In that decision, I send it off. I get it back with a yes. And now I have another conundrum, or so I think, because I'm like, well, I still can't afford to go. So now I have this scholarship in my face, and I don't know how to make that decision because it's completely from a place of how am I going to do that? How's this going to work? I don't know how to do this. And as the days and weeks rolled by towards the start of this conference, I found myself feeling very nervous that I was going to fear of missing out. FOMO. Anyone have FOMO ever around anything?
totally. Can I just
Yeah,
interject
go
for a
for it.
sec? Because I think there's a piece here that we touched on yesterday when we were just talking between us.
Yeah.
So there's this other program that Tanya and I were also invited to, and it's a 90-day program with Cheryl Brewster. She's incredible, Intuitive Life. We adore her. And I was worried actually about inviting Tanya to this Infinite Possibility Certification Train the Trainer program because I was like, I didn't want her to have to choose between either of those programs. I wanted her at both. And so I started making considerations on her behalf. And I was like, not sure about how she was going to make this work, but I wanted her at both.
Mhm.
So I'll zip it again and pass the floor back to Tanya, but it's an important piece to consider because I was making considerations on Tanya's decision making. Interesting stuff, folks.
And considerations are decisions, right? So you were making decisions around decisions and trying to control. I think that, like that piece of, if I could just control this and contrive this to the way that I want it to look, then it will be amazing, right? And instead you just said, I'm going. Here it is, plain and simple, I'm going. And that niggling feeling inside of me, that intuitive sense was like, I think you're supposed to be there. And then it was every excuse in the book, right? I can't. I just can't. I don't have any money coming in. I'm just transitioning into work. I don't know how I'm going to do this. All of the crappy things that we tell ourselves, right? In that moment, we can't. We don't have enough time, energy, money. Those are the three main excuses that people use, right? For avoiding anything. But again,
Shitty committee,
as
shitty committee, is that
yeah,
what it's called?
yes, the shitty committee, absolutely. And then as the date started looming even closer, it was like, you know what? I actually really think I'm supposed to go to this. How am I supposed to come up with this money? I don't know how that's going to happen. Um, what I do
What
know
made
in
you
the
think that you were supposed to go? What was happening inside of you that was leaning you in that direction?
it was subtle. It was a stirring of the soul. It was the tap tap tap. Hey, whisper. It was a whisper. It was a
Gentles.
whisper of, I think I'm supposed to be there. You know how sometimes you can decide things like, oh no, that's a hard no, or no, oh, no, that's a F yes, right? And this was in the middle of, I desire to go, so it was pulling me in that direction, but then I was resisting all of it by putting all of these stopping places into place, right?
Gotcha.
So, 2 days before, they're like, excuse me, if you're not going to use your scholarship, we'll give it to someone else. I'm like, no, 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 I'm going to use my scholarship. Just hang on a second. I got to sort my details out, right? Okay. So once I fully committed and said, yep, pay my tuition, oh, magic happened. So I'm now spending the weekend with my best friend and her partner amongst a couple hundred people that are being trained. And as this person is speaking and that person is speaking, I'm like, wow, yes, yes, yes. I am so glad I decided to be here.
Yeah.
And by Sunday, the emotions were so real and the vision was so clear. It was like the aperture had finally brought in a crisp picture. And when I could see the literal infinite possibilities, I just wept. I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this my whole life, this piece of the puzzle where I understood that I literally, for living my purpose, just need to decide to be myself. That's it. That's what living on purpose is fully being embodied and fully living my calling, right?
Absolutely.
Fast forward to Monday after this conference. I open my bank account and I'm like, what? There's $500 in there that I was not expecting to be there. So all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this works. This works. I didn't even know that it works to the degree that it could beforehand. But in making that decision, the universe went, oh, good, she's ready. Okay. All of a sudden, all of these things started falling into place and the magic started appearing everywhere from a decision that was made from an integral place of checking in with body, checking in with spirit, and then fully committing to something before I understood the how it was going to work itself out. That money appeared in my bank account from child support that's been owed to me for 30 years. I have no idea why or when or how or anything else. And none of that matters because it really gave me evidence and proof that by making the decisions that are honoring my highest directive, by honoring my highest good, that the universe went, yep, let me turn the magic on. No problem. Thank you for getting out of your own way and stepping into the flow that's available for everyone. And so now that I'm tuned in, tapped in, tuned in, and turned on, I tell you, it's a pretty magical feeling. And I'm feeling this level of aliveness in my body and in my spirit. And I can see it because it's going out there to other people and they're catching it and they're amplifying that in their own lives, right? So it just is simply magic. And that is how decisions can create or destroy what it is that we're here to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, hey. Yeah, I agree with you. The universe is always conspiring to support me in that which I am really clear is that is important to me. And I think when we talked last time, we were kind of hemming and hawing on relocation, which we've decided not to
Mhm.
for a variety of reasons. And I feel really clean about that. And as a result of us making this decision, we've been pretty wishy-washy about whether we're staying or going and where we want to be. And as a result of making that decision as a clear no, we've spent a lot of time, money, and energy beautifying the space that we have. And to hear my partner's voice come out and say, wow, this is pretty awesome, is a really far cry from where he came from.
Mhm.
So it's amazing. And it doesn't like these decisions, what am I going to wear today?
Mhm.
Sometimes that's a really important decision. If
Mhm.
you're doing a presentation or you've got a really important meeting, sometimes a color can make you feel better, right?
Mhm.
It brings out some kind of energy in you, which is Tanya's talking about this energy. This energy is always in flow, and we get to either put a pause on it, stop it completely, or continue to let it flow and expand.
Yeah.
And decisions have so much to do with how that's happening. And often it's really just surrendering to what we really know to be true.
Mm.
Have you ever made a decision that you kind of thought you shouldn't, that you might be crossing the line, kind of felt like, no, but I'm going to do it anyway?
Mm.
We have a few examples together for sure. I have my own examples. And honestly, I don't want to say it never ends well because it's always good learning. There's always a silver lining in everything. Even if it does go sideways, the lesson could have been learned a little easier if I had just listened to that voice inside.
Doing
And
good.
it's not like a voice, like Tanya said, she heard this, it was a gentle nudge, it was a whisper. Sometimes those messages do come in really softly, and sometimes it's hello.
Well, usually because I've ignored the whisper and the gentle tap, right? And then it's like, boom, yeah, are you paying attention yet? I've had plenty of those experiences and stories as well. I'm going back to something that our mutual friend Siobhan said in our group in a video about, you know, being in a really high vibration and living in that high vibration and watching the universe consort to bring in all of these people, places, and things to support us, and then getting into situations where we allow our energy to go low vibe because of the other people around us, and how important it is to stay in integrity around it, what it is that we want, and be the high vibration, be the higher vibration. And not that it's a perfect science, right? Sometimes we wake up in a mood, or sometimes something happens and that affects us, but can we decide to continually go and plug into the high vibe and be the example and be the inspiration and feel the aliveness, right? Like that's what I
Mhm.
got from the group that I led this morning. Was there's something that happens that's a tingly inside, zingy, it feels more electric, and therefore it feels like a higher vibration, and therefore it feels more alive. And can we
It's
make
so
decisions
true.
from there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I work in a really I'm in a really cool industry. I'm so fortunate. The position that I'm in does come with a lot of stress and pressure. It's the nature of the work. It just is what it is. And when I come back out of that workshop, I remember tackling a bit of a tricky situation with a couple of my staff members. And because I had come out of this really big high and I was still flowing, like flowing big time. The next morning after that first day that I returned to my desk, one of those folks that I had that conversation with said, I rode your high all day long.
Mm.
And like they weren't even in the workshop, you know? These decisions that we make can really impact not only ourselves, but every single person around us. And regardless of that stress that happens, we get to choose every single moment to ride that wave or jump off.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's coming up in your life? What kind of decisions do you need to make in your own life? And how can you listen to that small whisper that our intuition really is, and listen to it to the degree where we know what we're doing is the right decision and stepping forward?
Yeah. This is Off the Cuff with T and Me, decision making, part two.
Stay
Enjoy your
tuned.
day. Leave your comments, questions, put some challenges out to us. We'd love to interact with you and pick up this conversation with you at another time. And thanks so much for watching. Subscribe
Thanks
below.
for deciding to watch this video. We appreciate
Exactly.
it. Take care.
Bye.